Hello, everyone, and welcome to Week 15 of the QB List pregame live stream. Here back with me is Matt in his funeral black in mourning of the Cowboys season, and his new AirPods, trying them out today on the broadcast. Not a sponsor.
Christmas came early this year.
How you doing, Matt? How are the in-laws gone? Are you able to enjoy football in peace this week?
That's to be yes, gone, but we're about to be back headed north, so we're migrating north for the winter. But yeah, black is for many things. It's for the Z even just today. He's going to just sit out the rest of the season too, I guess. So we'll get to that. But also Tennessee football, hopefully they're, just getting the death penalty. That'd be nice. And Harden wants to leave Houston. So all around, it's fun for me right now. But I'm in one semifinal matchup, thankfully. So there is hope on the horizon, unless that goes poorly as well. So.
Yeah, it's a bad sports year overall for Matt. But we got a fantasy basketball draft tonight, so maybe his odds will look up.
If I can remember to set my daily lineup.
We already got a question rolling in from JP Pellis.
Oh, this is going to be a good debate right here.
Or maybe it's JPP Ellis 3. I don't know. But, yeah, Matt has told me Jeff Wilson's just not even worth rostering this week, whereas I think Mostert is either going to be limited or I think Mostert also could re-injure his foot. And Jeff Wilson's been used on the goal line a lot these last few weeks. And I know Zeke's out today, but, that Niners defense has been like top 3 against running backs in terms of fantasy points. So I'm going Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, I'm going neither. So you don't want the backup when the starter can't even do anything in Dallas. And if you're in the semifinals, I don't think you want Wilson your flex. Unless this is like a 16-team league, there has to be better options than Jeff Wilson and Tony Pollard, because that's where you were considering starting him, right? Was our 16-teamer.
I am starting.
Okay, well, that's just because the game's already at hand. You'd think a little more seriously about that if you didn't have such a good Saturday.
I've had him in my flex since the beginning of the week.
Yeah, but in your heart, that's a bad decision. So, he may get like 10 carries for 40 yards and,
he will have
touchdown, but that's 10 carries for 40 or 50 yards and a touchdown is like his ceiling. So, his floor is like 20 yards and 2 points. So
my prediction is Mostert gets re-injured today. Jeff Wilson Jr. has double digits.
And that's all you need to know about you, just wishing injuries upon players ahead of your players. So
I'm not wishing injuries, but I'm telling you, I think there's a high risk for Mostert to get injured again because he's been injured all season. And I just think either he's going to be limited or Jeff Wilson is going to get decent amount of work either way. But anyway, on to the injuries. And also, I don't think we went over the whole Twitter thing, but give us a follow at the QB List, as well as you can find me at Rader, RAY_DUR. Matt, what is your Twitter handle?
At Matt Dean QB List.
So there you go. To start out with injuries, Alex Smith is out today, I believe. Is that confirmed? I'm pretty sure Schefter tweeted.
Yeah, it's going to be the Haskins show, I think, which is good for anyone that wants to stream the Seahawks defense.
So Haskins is back. All those check downs that Logan Thomas and J.D. McKissick were getting, they might not get them this week. Probably the biggest name, Julio Jones, is out yet again. Russell Gage, probably worth a stream. Tampa Bay, they haven't been as stout against the pass lately as they were in the beginning of the year. So Russell Gage, he's been getting double digits. I think he's worth a flex option.
Yeah.
And do what?
Just agreeing with you.
Debo Samuel's on IR, and a lot of the beat writers are expecting him. He'll just be well, I don't know if he's on IR, but he is out. But I think they're projecting that he won't play next week either. Kenny Galladay's out once again. Stafford's really banged up. I don't even know how he's playing this game. I think he tore some cartilage and stuff in his ribs. So
we'll see. They officially say he's active now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week Schefter said he was expected to play, which, like I said, I don't know how, but
cleared to start. But I mean, that is good, I think, for the Lions. Like skill, I actually wrote up the Lions game this week, and I had said that if Chase Daniel's starting, which that was the expectation at that point on what was that Wednesday, that it basically downgrades all skill players there. But I mean, now I think Swift is like a pretty solid option as far as getting your line. I definitely like Swift over Jeff Wilson Jr. and Tony Pollard. I'll say that.
Let's see. We got one more question coming in. Hold on. If you could pick two, who would they be? Pollard, McLaurin, or CEH?
Yeah, I was trying to. If you got something to say, go for it.
I'm going McLaurin. I'm going McLaurin for sure.
Yeah, so here's McLaurin's first 4 games, and this was with Dwayne Haskins. 11 points, 25 points, 12 points, and 21 points. So I don't think you have to worry about McLaurin with Haskins coming back. I mean, Haskins basically locks in on McLaurin. So I think I'm going McLaurin and CEH.
I'm going McLaurin and
Jeff Wilson Jr.
It's tough. Yeah, if you got him. McLaurin, and I think I want to say McLaurin and Pollard just because he won't be splitting carries with anybody. And I don't like either one of their matchups. CEH's been pretty bad lately, too. I'm going McLaurin and Pollard. But, yeah, so it's going to be hard to sit Marvin Jones. He's got a really good matchup with Galladay out. I mean, I know Stafford's hurt, but I think I'd still have to roll with him unless you got better options. Let's see. Damian Harris is also out, which leaves Sony Michel's the projected starter. I mean, James White should be involved as well. Maybe Rex Burkhead. I'm not even sure he's healthy. I don't keep up with the status of Rex Burkhead. But Sony Michel against Miami, I don't trust it. I mean, they play Buffalo next week if Damian Harris is out again. Don't love either one of those matchups. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not starting. Yeah, it's hard enough to start James White right now. I don't know that I'm not starting Sony Michel either. So I could see James White more than Sony Michel just based off the matchup for running backs. But yeah, is Kenny Galladay going to play again this year?
I don't know. Why would he at this point?
Yeah. Well, I mean, why is Matthew Stafford out there, run out there with cracks in his ribs? We don't know.
Myles Gaskin is also out. He, it's looking like Salvin Ahmed or Ahmed. I've heard people say Ahmed. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But him, Dwayne Washington might be involved. Lynn Bowden. Some people say Bowden. Why, I don't know. Lynn Bowden Jr. is got wide receiver and running back eligibility, and apparently Gesicki, Devontae Parker, and Jakeem Grant are all going to be out. They got to throw to somebody, so I think Bowden's easily worth the start today.
Yeah, this could be one of those games. What was Tua's first game? He threw 90 yards. Possibility could be a rough game.
Yeah, I mean,
is Lynn Bowden worth a stream?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely. I mean, he's at least worth a flex. I mean, I don't expect big things from this offense today. It probably is going to be ugly, but I think he's going to get a lot of check downs and should at least get a decent amount of targets. I don't know how much the touchdown upside is going to be there today because I don't expect them to be in the red zone a lot with all these missing weapons. Especially playing the Pats D, which I don't know. Patriots. I was telling someone earlier, Patriots defense is either, they could give up 400 points or they could only allow 100. Yards. They could only allow 100 yards. So who knows with the Patriots defense? They've been kind of hot and cold.
Yeah, that's true. But I just don't know. Unless someone emerges, like having your top 2 pass catchers out, your best running back out, and a rookie QB, that's going to be a tough challenge. So I don't know who it's going to be. Yeah, New England might move up the ranks there to one of the higher defenses available.
Got Duke Johnson. He's out, which, I don't know how many people are trusting Duke Johnson to really carry on during the semifinal games, but plus David Johnson should be back today and ready to go. Yeah, fully. Yeah, so he's all the way back. Duke Johnson, just drop him if you got him. CJ Prosise is really just a non-mention as well. Kyle Rudolph's worth mentioning only for the fact that him being out, Irv Smith should see a decent amount of work. He's had some weeks where he gets like 2 touchdowns. Michael Thomas was put on IR this week. He's been if you took him this year, God have mercy on your soul. Because, and with that, is Traquan Smith worth trusting this week and next?
No, I think simply because we've seen this before, and it ends up being like Breeze ends up throwing like 10 to 12 balls to Kamara. Like Kamara's the biggest beneficiary of Michael Thomas being out when Drew Brees is the quarterback. When Taysom Hill's the quarterback, threw it around a lot more. Kamara would only get like targets a game, but now that he's back, Kamara moves back up to like overall running back 1 potential. So I don't see, especially in your semifinal matchup, I don't see you trying to trust Traquan Smith for. I like Traquan Smith maybe better than Jeff Wilson Jr., but no, I'm not trusting Traquan Smith in the semifinals. No chance there.
I think he's worth. They're playing Minnesota next week, so I think he might be worth at least a flex option next week. But Darwin Thompson's out. Daniel Jones. I don't think anyone was depending on either one of them. So that's pretty much it for the injuries so far. We'll keep you updated if anything else comes up. COVID news, no new cases this morning or anything. Everything's good to go. As far as
just a secondary reminder, since it's not on the ticker, about Zeke. If you didn't hear us earlier, Zeke is inactive today. So if you got him, get him out of your lineup.
Yeah, and the way he's been playing, I hope you didn't have him in your lineup.
Also true.
I'm going to update that real quick. Inclement weather. There's not really – I haven't seen any weather-related issues popping up anywhere. So I don't know if you saw anything, but
no, I think everything seems good to go. And I was just looking at a lineup that is set. I don't know if you have any leagues like this, but I think it's the worst kind of setup. The 2-week playoff matchups.
Yeah.
Do you have any leagues like that? What are your thoughts on the 2-weekers?
I don't now, but I did. And I think I was the beneficiary of it being 2 weeks twice. So, like, I love and hate it because, Because fantasy's so, I mean, it can be so dependent on luck. Not always, the best team doesn't always win. And I think, with 2 weeks, it gives the better team a chance to win out instead of one guy gets lucky and beats the better team.
Yeah.
So I like it in that regard. But then again, you win the first week and then lose out to, I think one year I lost to dude's kicker had an insane amount of points because the league settings were whack and end up losing the second week because of a kicker. So, I mean, I've had both situations where I was good. It was good on me and then very bad. But
yeah, well, the problem is if you don't start it a week early, then it runs into week 17, which is not
I don't
good.
like that. There's no league that should be going to week 17, in my opinion.
Agreed.
We got
a couple questions. Yeah.
He says, who you got between Hines and Jeff Wilson? 0.75 PPR, already in a big hole. Opponent had Josh Allen dig stack.
If you see Jeff Wilson here, I'm going to come through the screen because Hines is like a lock for double digits every week, especially with PPR. So
is that right?
I'm going Hines, of course.
He didn't have double digits last week.
Yeah, he did.
Nope. He had 9 points.
Yeah, he did.
No, he had 11. Okay, I thought he had 9. He had 11 point. He had 11.63, 14.93. I think honestly, I really do think Jeff Wilson and Hines will finish pretty close together. I really think that's a coin flip. I know Matt doesn't agree.
One catches passes. So
I really don't. I know Matt doesn't agree, but I mean, if you want to go safe, probably go Hines. But
if you want to go smart, also go Hines.
And then, okay, he didn't have another decision. That was the only decision. Should I start Ahmed, James Washington, or Snell? Ooh, I would say go Ahmed.
Yeah, he's actually. What's the Connor? He's starting now, isn't he? Am I wrong there?
Yeah, he's playing. He was questionable last I looked, but as far as I know, he's supposed to play.
Yeah, now on track to play. Yeah, I would say definitely Ahmed there. Not exciting, but
our buddy Matt Hunter in our main leagues want to start Bowden and Ahmed together, and I'm like, dude, please don't. The upside's not there. I mean, I definitely wouldn't play both of them over Kendrick Bourne against Dallas if I'm going for upside, and he needs upside to win.
Yeah, especially with no Debo and
yeah.
Yeah, I need him to win so that we can see our commissioner rage even more than he already has this year.
I just don't like playing two guys on the same team. I mean, sometimes it works. Not two guys at the same position anyway. I mean, yeah, you get all the points, but you also limit yourself of other players' points, and it's just only so high of a ceiling you can get with two of the same players.
I mean, honestly, if I'm him, I'm probably starting Tyler Boyd over Kendrick Bourne. I mean,
oh, not against Pittsburgh. Not with that quarterback situation.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh's pass defense hasn't been like top 5 in the league or anything. I mean, it's like middle of the road.
He's got Traquan Smith too, but I like Bourne better than him, and I like Bowden better than him, I think.
Yeah. And it's all a toss-up, I think. Kendrick Bourne hasn't scored double digits in one game this a few games, I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, his QB situation is not great.
It's not, but it's Dallas.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'd rather do that than start 2 running backs against New England's defense. If I'm playing a guy that's got Pat Mahomes, Robert Woods, trying to think of who else is on his team, Hopkins.
Yeah. Well, he's also got Well, he's got Sammy Watkins on his team, who also is pretty lackluster. I don't know if I'd be starting him. Maybe I'd start Bourne over Watkins, put Watkins on the bench.
Well, he's only starting Watkins so he can try to cancel out Mahomes.
See, I just don't like – that's – to me, that's a – it's a –
Yeah, but when it works,
I think that's a stupid thing. It doesn't work if the wide receiver scores 7 points. That doesn't work.
It doesn't. But if he scores a touchdown and gets the yardage for it, and he gets more points than the quarterback.
Yeah, but if he scores 7 points and the guy on your bench scores 12, then that's a dead narrative to me. I don't like that.
It's just, I think in his position he's got to do it though, just because most of that guy's points are going to come from Mahomes. And if he's getting the points to those guys, Kelsey and Watkins, then he can kind of cancel that out.
Watkins gets like 3 targets a game.
I know. I'm not saying Watkins is a great play, but if he happens to throw a touchdown to Watkins.
Yeah, well, if I happen to walk down the street and see a big bag of money, it'd be a good day, but I'm not going to.
In his situation, I would do it. But like if I had my choice of him and like, I don't know, some other like Russell Gage, I'd rather play Russell Gage probably. But with the other options he has, I would play Bourne and Watkins. Anyway, Pete Dixon's got a question here.
Got me heated this morning.
0.5 PPR between Cooks, Hilton, Cooper, and Boyd. I say Cooks and Hilton.
I can't even think straight right now. Let me read this again. 0.5 PPR, Cooks, Hilton, Cooper, and Boyd. I'm going Cooks, but we saw what Hansen could do last week as a number 2 receiver. Cooks is going to eat today. So I'm going Cooks. If you could start Cooks and Hilton, that'd be nice. Can't believe we're suggesting Hilton after how he was, but yeah, I'm going Cooks. You're going Hilton, but I think they could finish similarly in production.
No, he needs 2, doesn't he? Oh, my bad. He only needs 1. I got so into our debate there.
Yeah. So
I would start Hilton.
Pete, I think Cooks and Hilton, I think they might finish similar in production wise. So I just know that Deshaun Watson basically is going to throw 40 times. So
Hilton's matchup's too good, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Cooks is literally going to get like 12 targets. So, but I think they both have similar touchdown upside. So I really don't think you're making a bad decision if you start either one, honestly.
I just think Indy's defense is so much better. We'll talk some DFS plays here. So at quarterback, I like Jalen Hurts.
Man, we got you to take your hat off. That got heated, didn't it?
Jalen Hurts, 5,900. Decent floor. Playing Arizona. Just hold on. I say Hilton.
Definitely between Hilton and Cook. Yeah. Flip a coin. But
me and you always disagree on these decisions, and me and Eric last week we were agreeing on like everything. So Jalen Hurts, 5,900, playing Arizona, should have a decent amount of upside. I like the rushing floor, cheap price tag.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I'm all in on Jalen Hurts this week, which is crazy because last week it was like wait and see on Jalen Hurts, but that's gonna be a good question. I think Jalen Hurts is, for bang for your buck, he's the best DFS play at quarterback in my opinion.
Mike says, "Sup guys? Give me a big name you think will ruin fantasy seasons today."
Well, so far today it's been Aaron Rader. in his starting.
One of
I'm just
them,
kidding.
one of the names I think might flop today is James Robinson. And
Whoa! Don't be saying that. He's only. I need him to do well.
And I know, like even even against Pittsburgh and stuff, he's been pretty good. But they're playing Baltimore. Their quarterback situation has been between Mike Glennon and Gardner Minshew. I will say that Baltimore has been getting run on pretty good the last 2 weeks. So maybe I'm wrong. But that's just one that kind of sticks out to me when I look at the matchups. Another guy, I think, even though he did well against them last time, is Deshaun Watson. Playing Indy's defense, he's limited. No Fuller now. Brandon Cooks, we don't know if hopefully he's all the way back. They say he is. But he's someone else I think could struggle in a division game playing them the second time.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the top players here.
But Mike might be asking not who's going to flop, but who's going to go off and make people lose their matchup. I think maybe what he's asking.
Either way, I think you can answer both ways. I think I'm not going to count out, even though it's not a great matchup. I'm never going to count out Tyreek Hill now. Dalvin Cook doesn't have a great matchup. I could see Dalvin Cook, not having a Dalvin Cook kind of game and only give you 15 points, which, you would accept for most people, but from Dalvin Cook, you're expecting more than that. Okay, here's a name that I think could disappoint Miles Sanders, because he gave people so much hope last week after scoring 29. He's probably on a lot of people's benches. So I'm guessing people have newfound or rekindled faith in Miles Sanders, and I could see him flopping if we're going the flop route. Going off, though, not, I guess, a huge name, but Brandon Ayuk, I feel like he's going to have a pretty monster game. So, as he has been the past, 2 weeks. There's my choices.
If he's asking, I answered who I think would flop or might flop. If he's asking one name, that'll go off and ruin somebody's day, I think Cam Akers against the Jets probably going to be pretty monstrous today. I think both Allen Robinson and David Montgomery have a chance to go off again. They were pretty good last week playing Minnesota today. So, those are three guys I think are poised to be pretty dominant today. Unfortunately, I'm playing against two of them in our main league. Speaking of both of those guys, I had Mitch Trubisky as my second quarterback. He said I was looking for floppers, by the way. Okay, that's good. Mitch Trubisky's 5,500, so 400. I think he has better upside than Jalen Hurts. I just don't like his floor as much, and he's 400 cheaper. So there's a guy, if you're looking to save even more money.
We're talking about DraftKings main slate, by the way. FYI, for everybody listening. So,
him and Hurts are the ones I like the most, I think, in terms of value.
Yeah. At the running back position, I'm looking at, I mentioned earlier, Alvin Kamara. Kamara's listed as 7,400. 7,400, that's James Robinson territory, Dave Montgomery territory, which is really cheap for someone who, was averaging 20 plus points a game for every game with Drew Brees. So, not that he scored 20 points in every game, but he averaged above 20 because he had some really big games in there. So I think running back position, Kamara is who you're looking at if you want, and it's hard to say value play whenever he's 7,400, but that's value for someone of his caliber. I don't know if you have any names of lower. I know you mentioned that Baltimore backfield earlier, but any other lower priced running backs that you're looking at for value, or even a higher priced guy that's a lock?
I like Derrick Henry at 95. I mean, he's the most expensive back by far, 9,500, but he's playing the worst run defense in terms of fantasy points given up in Detroit. So, I mean, this guy could, might have a 3 touchdown game in him again, maybe more. I mean, in Stafford is banged up like we talked about. Maybe the defense capitalizes, puts them in position to score easily. So I don't think they'll have a problem with the Lions today, and I think Henry's really going to have a monstrous day. And then I talked about not Russell Gage. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Cam Akers 6,600 against the Jets. For 6,600, I think he's well worth it because I think he could finish his top 3 back this week. So those are my 2 picks.
Yeah. Any just concern for you with how that backfield's been handled this year? I mean, we thought, what was it after week 1? We thought Malcolm Brown was the guy. After a couple of weeks with Henderson, we thought he was the next big thing, and now Cam Akers. Do you think there's any concern there? I mean, I think there's definitely some risk involved with Cam Akers. I agree with you that his upside's that of a top 3, top 5 back this week, but I think there's also risk of Sean McVay, waking up on a different side of the bed.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could totally pull the rug out from under us and go with a committee or go to somebody else today. But, I mean, sorry, I'm looking at this top 4 playoff in college football. Apparently they let Notre Dame in the top 4 even still.
Yeah, I think that was to be expected, though. I think it was only if Notre Dame won, Clemson was going to get knocked out, and then A&M in. So A&M's what, 5th?
Yeah, probably. I think Sean McVay could definitely, do that, but Akers has done it for multiple weeks now, and he's gotten the bulk of the carries. So I don't see him flipping that today. Not saying it can't happen, but, there's no way he's sitting on the bench or I'm giving any hesitation to start him today. But, yeah, they could definitely limit his upside by putting some other guys in. But before we get to receivers, just a sidebar for a second on this college football thing. Some people have said we need to just bring back the old system. I don't think we need to do that, but I do think this 14 playoff thing is it's got to either be expanded or come up with something different. Because, I mean, there's just so many good teams being left out, and there's so many. I mean, in my opinion, Notre Dame should not be up there. They're only up there.
I agree with you because they're up there because they beat Clemson the first time.
With a freshman quarterback playing for Clemson.
Yeah, they didn't have Trevor Lawrence. And so
they still almost won.
And I'm pretty sure that Clemson was without – I was just talking to a buddy who's a Clemson fan last night. I'm pretty sure last time they played, they were without Lawrence, a wide receiver, a linebacker, and 2 DBs. So it's like they got absolutely destroyed last night. And they would have lost Clemson twice if not for it's being out. So
we'll wrap this up real quick, but I just want to say they need to start with expanding to 6 teams. But I think 8 teams is a sweet spot. A lot of people said like 16 teams, stuff like that. I think that's too much. But Notre Dame gets overrated every year, and I don't understand why they keep getting put in this thing. And
remember when who was the invisible girlfriend guy?
Te'o.
Yeah, they were in the championship, got rocked.
Demolished. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know if it's because their national exposure. Why I don't know, but I'm just saying I think it's flawed. We need to figure out something else or expand. Mike agrees with me. He says got to expand to 8 or 12. I think 12 would be a sweet spot. In my opinion, you get into too watered down territory there. But all right,
Well,
we'll
I think the tough part there is it's college students, student athletes, and adding more games is it's more risk for them. I think
It is, but I mean, you look at FCS. They have what's their it's like 16 teams, is it not? Maybe even more than that. And they do a playoff bracket.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So, I mean, I think ultimately I was going to say I think kids that are 18 to 20, 21 or 22 are not. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, that's too many games. I mean,
yeah, and I mean,
for them,
obviously the schools the schools and the networks aren't going to say no to more of these playoff games. So anyway, back to NFL. Trey S says, "Morning, gents. Full PPR. Choose two: Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, Woods, or Swift."
Two. That's a lot of good names there. Stuff because Woods, it seems like he's like last week he put up a dud. But then he has weeks where he has 30. Deontay Johnson gets a lot of targets, but right now that passing it, the Steelers in general right now are just kind of. I mean, they're not even look like a top 10 team in the NFL right now. It's tough. So I think I'm going Cooks and Swift. What about you?
I mean, Deontay Johnson playing Cincy, it's hard to – I think I got to put him in there. And I think the danger with Woods is I think they're just going to be all over the Jets and going to run the ball. I mean, even though he's got a great matchup. I mean, I think Swift's got a good matchup too, but the upside. I'll go Deontay Johnson and Woods, not feel great about it. I like Cooks the least at all those, honestly, given their matchup. Need a win to keep going in the pitcherless league of leagues. Do I start Corey Davis or Tony Pollard? I say Corey Davis.
Yeah. Easy.
And he said it's full PPR, so yeah, I go Corey Davis.
Easy decision there. You can actually just put – if you click on Tony Pollard's name, there's a button that says drop. You can click that.
So wide receivers I like today in DFS. We already talked about Allen Robinson. He's 7,400. We'll just kind of gloss over that. Russell Gage, 4,700 though. So I think that's a real good value.
Yeah.
We talked about.
I think even Calvin Ridley's a good. I mean, pay up for Calvin Ridley is also not a bad thing. But I mean, it seems like it's like Calvin Ridley. Yeah, Zeke's been out for like 8 weeks though. Calvin Ridley, it seems like, he and Gage kind of have similar weeks every now and then. So, I mean, I'd rather just pay a lot less and get Zeke. I mean, Zeke's on the screen. And get Russell Gage. What about you?
Adam, we know Zeke's out, but given that matchup against the Niners and given that offense, don't start Pollard. I'd start Corey Davis easily. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I was just asking you, given that it seems like Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley are kind of equally involved when Julio's out, I'd rather pay much less for the same. To me, it's kind of the same upside with Ridley and Gage. So.
Yeah, I would rather pay that for Gage than pay. I think Ridley's like 7,400 or something. I'd rather pay 4,700 for Gage. Coach Dish says Landry, Pollard, Gallman, full PPR.
Gallman was really good with Jones in there. I actually don't even know how Gallman did last week. Yeah, they're playing Cleveland, so yeah, I don't really like. Oh, Gallman's done well against like better run defenses. but also that was with Daniel Jones.
Cleveland's running defense is pretty bad, isn't it?
I mean, they're they're like top. They're like basically 10th in the league. But I mean, Gallman has been like really involved every week that he's been the starter. So Landry though is, I mean, it's hard to sit Landry. Did he say PPR? Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going Landry against the Giants. I mean, he's put up double digits last 3 weeks, over 20 in 2 of the last 3 games. Baker Mayfield's playing really well, so I like Landry. Better offense. Thoughts?
I like Gallman, honestly.
We disagree again.
Giants have just been good against quarterbacks and receivers. I just like Gallman better, even though their quarterback situation sucks. So the official playoff schedule, for college, Alabama versus Notre Dame, Clemson versus Ohio State. Probably going to have to see Alabama versus Clemson again.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's getting old,
Alabama might win by. Well, I don't know. Alabama actually had a tough time with Florida yesterday. So, but that offense is scary, man.
They're not going to have
then again, Clemson's offense. No, Notre Dame. They might. Whatever the spread is for Alabama against Notre Dame, please bet whatever it is. I'm sure they haven't come out with the spreads at this point, but I mean, it's going to be.
I don't know, man. It's just absurd. I cannot believe they're doing this. So another one I like, Lynn Bowden Jr., 3,600. Very cheap. Very nice. Should have a lot of potential for receptions today. Don't know what the touchdown upside is going to be like, but I really like him. I don't know if in DraftKings he has running back and wide receiver eligibility like he does in Yahoo Fantasy, but
I think regardless if he does or not, like in DraftKings, I mean, I believe he's just wide receiver. So,
and then Brandon Ayuk is 6,300. I really like him against Dallas with no Deebo Samuel. That's a good price for him.
Yeah, I like Cooks at 300. I think he's like $300 cheaper, but I mean, they both have a great upside, I think. And I think Ayuk has definitely the better matchup.
And then as far as tight ends, Irv Smith at 3,600. We talked about Kyle Rudolph's out. Usually has pretty good tight ends.
Cooks at what, 3,400?
Yeah, Jared Cook.
I mean, basically anyone under Travis Kelce is like 500 or less. So we talked about paying up for Travis Kelce before. I just think it makes it difficult on the rest of your lineup, but I could also see value in it. I mean, he's basically valued at like a top priced at like a number 3 or 4 wide receiver on the state at 8,000. So, I mean, I think he week to week has that upside. So if you're going to pay up to have a pivot, not a lot of people Travis Kelce, so it could be a good pivot there if you want to do that. I just think there's more value to be found at the lower price tight ends than there is at the really low price wide receivers. So that's why I tend to shy away from paying up for the tight end.
Irv Smith, 3,600. Tyler Higbee, 3,800. Jets have given up the most amount of points to tight ends and the most touchdowns. He's a good play, and so is Jared Cook, who's also around that range. So, and because the Chiefs have been one of the worst teams against tight ends over the last 4 or 5 weeks, all 3 of those guys couldn't really come up with a defense that I loved at a price point. If I had to say, just pay up for the Rams this week, 4,500. And one sneaky one I had in there was 49ers defense at 3,100 playing Dallas. But I wouldn't trust it. It's just kind of shot in the dark. If I want to go most sure thing.
You get what?
I said if I want to go the most sure thing, I think I'd go Rams.
Yeah, I just think I'm never paying that much for defense. I don't care who they're playing. I'm basically like looking 3,500 and below and just, flipping a coin most times. But, I mean, Seahawks get Dwayne Haskins and they're 3,100. Like you said, 49ers against Dallas, pretty good. But then we have Patriots against Miami, and Miami's down like 3 of their top skill players. So Patriots could be a good play. I don't think there's any valuable plays below that I can find below the Patriots. So I think you're looking 3,000 and up. But I mean, I could see if you found enough value elsewhere and you want to pay for the Rams, sure. Because I mean they're gonna have a good week. So it's always that's what I like about DFS. I mean, so many different lineups. If you're having a bad year in some of your leagues like I am, it gives you a chance to have a little excitement week to week.
Baker Harrington says Lynn Bowden with all Dolphins out or Tyler Boyd PPR. I'm going Lynn Bowden.
Baker, is your real name Hunter Shoemaker and this is your doppelganger? Because one of the guys in our league has the same scenario. Yeah, I'm going Lynn Bowden there. Just more opportunity share, I think. Less competition.
Dude,
so
he's starting both the Dolphins. It's a mistake, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have much better options, so.
But I'm saying I'd rather start Watkins or Traquan Smith over both of those. Like, not over both of them, but I'm saying, like, instead of starting both.
I mean, what's the matter about starting both? Just because the matchup?
Because he's the matchup, and he's limited. I mean, I just think he's limiting the amount of points.
Well, I still think he should be starting Boyd over Ahmed, but
I mean, I would rather start Boyd over him too if I'm going to start Bowden.
Yeah, but sorry, Baker, that if you didn't get our answer, yeah, Lynn Bowden is our suggestion there.
Yeah, and we got 13 minutes till kickoff. I'm going to be setting lineups to try to win these semifinals. So this is the part of the show where me and Matt are just going to sit here and listen to y'all's questions if y'all got any. And it's going to talk about our overall fantasy ideas and views on certain things.
Who do you think's going to win MVP?
Josh Allen.
I need to look at what the MVP odds are at this current moment.
So I want to win MVP, Josh Allen.
That's your MVP.
I'm actually rooting for the Bills to win the Super Bowl too.
Here's the current NFL MVP odds. We got this is updated here. We got Mahomes as the heavy favorite, Aaron Rodgers number 2, and Josh Allen number 3. So if you want to put your money where your mouth is, Josh Allen's plus 1,700. Make a nice little payday there. For some reason, Tom Brady's like number 6, ahead of Derrick Henry and Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray. If Dalvin Cook would have played every game this year, I think he would have been a lot higher. But, I mean, do you feel like, wasn't the last non-quarterback MVP, wasn't that Adrian Peterson a while back? Do you think it's like just destined to be a quarterback award from now on?
I mean, pretty much, just like Rookie of the Year. Like, Justin Jefferson has a very strong case for Rookie of the Year, but it'll probably be Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Baker
Harrington also says, I also am rolling with Jalen Hurts over Drew Brees. Do you think that's a good move? I do. Drew Brees has not been great in fantasy.
Yeah, and Drew Brees, I've never, to my knowledge, broken like 10 ribs, but I imagine he's going to be like, if anybody gets close to him, he's going to be falling over. Yeah, so there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 MVPs that were not quarterbacks in the last 25 years. And they were all running backs. AP, LT, Sean Alexander, Marshall Faulk, Terrell Davis, and Barry Sanders. So, but for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's been quarterback. It's still crazy to me that Cam Newton won an MVP in 2015.
I can't trust Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I have him starting, and I'm not happy about it.
I do too.
I thought about, honestly, Nyheim Hines over him, but, I mean,
I have
with the emergence of what's his name? Just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I got Hines in this league too.
Jonathan Taylor. Hey, they finally declared Antonio Gibson out, so I can actually utilize that roster spot.
Oh, did they? They said he's out. I guess I might have to start J.D. McKissick then.
Yeah.
Dang. Would you start J.D. McKissick over Chris Carson against Washington? They're tough.
The only problem is that J.D. McKissick, like, in all the games with
Haskins,
he had like in 4 games he had a total of 12 targets. So I mean that's 3 targets a game. The first 2 games he had, I guess he had actually like 15 targets, but I mean he didn't score double digits until they switched quarterbacks. But I mean, how did he do? Didn't Haskins played a majority of last week? Did he not?
I don't know. I just think all I got to do. I'm projected to win by like 30 right now, so all I got to do is go safe plays. I just think him over Chris Carson's safer this week because Chris Carson's got Washington's defense like top 3.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here thinking about going McKissick over Godwin. What do you think about that?
Well, I could do that too, and that's something else I thought about instead of sitting Chris Carson. God, such a good matchup for Godwin, though.
I know. I'll probably just stick with Godwin and then be upset when he gets like 8 points.
And I thought
it's so hard to sit the bigger names when last year I sat Miles Sanders for Mike Boone and lost a championship. So
I thought about setting Watson for Hurts. Oh, crap.
Did you say for Wirtz?
No, I said for Ertz.
Yeah, I already sat Noah Fant for Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
So that
Godwin, Carson, McKissick. Which 2 would you take?
I'd probably go with. Honestly, I'd go with Godwin and probably it's PPR, right?
It's half PPR, I think.
I think I'd go Godwin and Carson, but because I feel like Carson's usually at least decently involved in the passing game, and he's going to get the goal line work.
I have Hines too.
Yeah, I just don't trust. I mean, they're all like double digits every week, but I mean, because I've thought about Hines too, over Godwin, because Hines has honestly been solid even with. I mean, if Jonathan Taylor even gives up, a few more snaps to Hines, you're looking at a pretty big game. So.
Sorry, Carlos. I kind of neglected your question here. Chris Carson or Dobbins full PPR? I'm going Dobbins this week.
Yeah, I like Dobbins, but I don't like Dobbins in this scenario.
Garrett Yonker says Dobbins or Justin Jefferson.
Oh, standard.
I'm going Dobbins.
Yeah, sorry. I thought it was PPR. Yeah, standard, I'm going Dobbins. I usually always lean running back in standard, especially if they're starting.
In Carlos' question, too, I'm going Dobbins.
Yeah, just more opportunity, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what to do in this situation, man. I guess I'm going to put Carson in. I need to set one of these receivers, I guess. Don't know whether to sit Marvin. Every time I set Marvin Jones, I regret it.
Maybe we should call into a sit start show and see what they say.
Godwin. I can't trust Godwin. I can't trust. I don't want to sit Jefferson. I think that's crazy. But on paper, he has the worst matchup.
Yeah, I already played Keenan Allen in one league, and so that's basically a lock loss.
I mean, last time Justin Jefferson played Chicago, he had like 25, so.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Godwin is consensus ranking higher than any of the guys we discussed. So do with that what you will.
Marvin Jones only had 6.8 last week. I just think with Stafford banged up.
Well, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. You better decide. 3 minutes. Starting to chew your fingernails territory here. I actually won't be able to. Well, I guess it'll be TV's where I'm going. I'll have to be watch on the phone. We're going to get lunch with some family members. So it's going to be. I'm going to need text updates as much as you can. But everybody, we appreciate y'all's questions. Good luck in your matchups if you're still in it. I know not everybody made it this far. Multiple leagues gives you more exposure and potential. We need to probably do we should do a podcast league next year. I think that would be good. With those that are, on here asking questions a lot. I think that would be fun. But you can, I guess we have one more week of, do we do week 17 of sit start?
We're still debating because we did it last year, but I don't know.
We have at least one more week of sit start coming on Thursday morning on Reddit. I believe it's just titled sit start week 15, or it'll be week 16 sit start. Us and the staff will be on there just answering any questions y'all have. It's usually pretty fun. There'll be a What We Saw article coming out tomorrow along with the podcast. So good luck to everybody today. Aaron, I would wish you luck, but you already got that locked up in the 16-teamer. So
don't ever say that.
Let's just root for Hunter to knock out our tyrant of a commissioner.
He probably won't because he's not listening.
And we'll see y'all back here next week for one last championship podcast. And anything else you got to say, or
we might do a week 17, but I don't think it'll probably be more just people ask questions and us kind of talk about overall fantasy and like our views on certain things, auction drafts and all that. I don't know. Probably something a little different if we do a week 17.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, go turn on Red Zone, and we'll see you back here next week.
Good luck, everyone.